Well, Tennessee's Josh Heupel had a lot to say about Mississippi State, from cowbells to big plays. We're breaking it all down next.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. My name is Jaron Spor. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon, McBride. We've got a packed show for you today because we now know the 9 conference opponents we are going to face. We'll talk about that in the next segment. And then we got major recruiting news because there's a figuratively and metaphorically big prospect on campus this upcoming weekend. But first, let's talk about Josh Heupel. He had his press conference where he talked about the upcoming game against Mississippi State. Also, obviously, one of the things that every coach feels like that talks about for the game is the atmosphere. He talked about the whiteout and how it's going to be a great atmosphere. He says we've got to win with our preparation and get ready to go play a really good football team on the road. It's going to be a great environment and look forward to playing it. So, Landon, was there anything that kind of stood out to you when you heard what Heupel was saying?
When he's talked about the improvements that he has seen on the roster since last year, because he mentioned they're deeper than they were a year ago. Young guys they have developed more. And then he said, quote, they're playing extremely well. So, I mean, I know no coach ever goes, yeah, this opponent we're about to face is they're playing bad. This is a trash team. No one is ever going to say that. But for him to say extremely well means that he is seeing the improvement that, we've seen. Because, I mean, so they're seeing it, he sees it, and he knows that this is not the same team that has been, last year.
Yeah, and it's, again, and I think we talked about it before the Arizona State game. It's kind of just good to hear that. So, it's not just like us fans that are saying it, like it actually hearing it is.
We're not drinking the maroon Kool-Aid that much.
Right. Yeah. Right. But they also talked about, just the year-over-year improvement, like you mentioned. He said that I think their roster, they're deeper than they were a year ago. The young guys that they had a year ago have continued to develop. They're playing extremely well. They obviously added some bodies through the portal as well. He talked about even defensively, one of the top in our league in a lot of different categories. That was the big part to me because we've talked about how the offense needed to take the step, and it has, but the defense had to as well.
Yeah, and the defense really has. And we've talked about some of the individual players that have gotten better. Obviously, Isaac Smith is still Isaac Smith, but Kelly Jones had made a big leap. We were concerned about the corner position, and he's allowing like the lowest catch percentage in college football. So there's that advantage. All the new bodies on the defensive line that, while it's not really translating to sacks, they're stopping the run pretty well.
Yeah.
And containing quarterbacks. Like they might not be getting all the sacks, but there's some hurries, some pressures, no quarterbacks running wild on them. So they're doing their jobs.
Yeah. And that's kind of what he said. He said after facing them a year ago, schematically, not really much difference. Yeah. But he said they've continued to add things to it. He says their personnel is obviously playing extremely well, as you mentioned. He said there's nothing tricky about going down there and playing this football team. It's a really good football team. You can see that on the tape in all 3 phases of the game. You look at the quality of the wins that they've had, beating Arizona State. It's the next test in this league. You better show up every Saturday ready to play. And that last part is big. But the first part, and true, obviously, because we've seen several teams, if you don't come ready to play, you can get beat. Kentucky knocking off Ole Miss last year. We saw that. But I did like where he talked about, there hasn't been anything like this big coaching change for the team this year. This is the same team that schematically, in terms of that same defensive team they were last year, they're just playing a lot better.
Yeah, the part where he was like, there's nothing tricky about going down there. At first, I was kind of like, hold on, what is he saying? Then you read the rest of the quote. It's like, oh, he's just saying, I know what they are. They're just a whole lot better at it this year.
Yeah.
And that's really where it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you want, especially when you have this kind of continuity with, the entire staff. You don't expect massive schematic shifts or philosophy shifts. It's just improvement.
And he also kind of downplayed the big plays. I mean, he gave credit, but he also kind of downplayed. He said big plays happen because you're able to execute, right? That's going and winning out on the perimeter. It's protection up front. It's the quarterback being accurate with the football. They've got great speed out on the outside, the red zone efficiency, man, the quarterback being a part of the run game, the way that they've been able to run the football. All that leads to that efficiency in that area of the field. Because he was asked about Mississippi State's ability to score from afar and their success in the red zone. And it all does start with the run game. And that's why I thought it was so important that they had the success they did against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, and he mentions the offensive line and the running game specifically, saying like they're really well coached and they're physical. And so, yeah, I mean, they are. But that's going to be the big question mark that we have going into this game. Yes, the offensive line is better, but they haven't faced a defensive line like Tennessee's yet.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. Yeah.
So that'll be a big thing on how, we know they're better, but are they that much better to where they can, even if they can't control the line of scrimmage like we've seen them do a lot of the time for the first 4 weeks, can they hold their own and not get blown off the line of scrimmage like we saw last year all the time? Yeah. So that's a big thing. But he's, Heupel's noticing it. He's talking about a running game and how, running backs are they have the different types of running backs. And so I mean, there's a lot that is on tape that these other coaches are seeing. So,
yeah, and he emphasized that they have to do better of getting off blocks and making the running backs kind of bounce things outside, so the linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks can kind of clean it up for a TFL. So I think you're going to see that a lot more. Booth is really the only one that really threatens you outside, but they got some guys that can run with Booth defensively, and so I think they have no issue pushing people outside. That was one thing I noticed a lot this weekend. The Oklahoma-Auburn game a couple weekends ago, Georgia and Tennessee. A lot of these teams are more than happy letting you bounce it outside because they're going to run you down because they got fast DBs as well, or linebackers that are fast.
Flying down.
Yeah. And so I think they're going to have to obviously counter that by creating the holes in the middle. Like you don't want Fluff bouncing a lot of balls outside, a lot of runs outside, because if he does that, he's not fast enough to outrun guys on the outside, like the really fast guys, like on the safeties and the different linebackers that Tennessee has. So he's got to have his success up the middle, which all comes down to the blocking and also finding your holes as well.
Yeah, it comes down to the vision, finding the right hole, because everyone knows, and I can't remember who said this on Twitter, like they were talking about some running back that was like, oh, he missed this lane. It's like, yeah, if you look at all 22 tape from the aerial view, you're always going to be able to find the cutback lane.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be able to find it when you're running full speed ahead in that situation. So I would expect him to need to, all the running backs have to find that cutback lane quite a bit in this one. And so the vision is going to be key. And yeah, Booth doesn't have the speed to outrun anybody on the outside, but he has the ability to run over some of those.
Yeah, no, he does. That he does. Yeah, no, that he definitely does. All right, the annual schedule for from 2026 to 2029 came out, and we'll kind of explain that in a little bit. But we got to talk about the 2026 schedule. 9-game conference slate is finally here. Who does Mississippi State have? We know the 3 annual opponents. Who else do they have outside of that? We'll break that down coming up next. All right, well, Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else. That's as of August of 2025. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. One of the things that I loved best about Monarch is it showed me all the things that I, was spending money on. The different things, like food delivery was a big one for me, and I know I'm not the only one there. Especially after COVID, a lot of people got used to doing that. Then it just became easier. So that was something that I realized I was spending money on. There's also a lot of subscriptions that you just don't realize you're spending money on. And Monarch was able to kind of keep that all together and show me what all I was doing. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so the 9 opponents for next year are out for Mississippi State, and we've got those. So this is the 9-game conference slate for 2026. Obviously, we know Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss. Yeah. Those are going to be the annual ones every single year. Alabama and Vanderbilt will be at home, and Ole Miss will be on the road. After that, it will be Auburn, Missouri, and Oklahoma at home. So Jeff Lebby gets to play his former school. And then we go on the road to face LSU, South Carolina, and Texas. So a pretty tough slate. And I do want to explain this. So how this is going to work is all the teams you play in 2026, you will play again in 2027, but it will flip. The home and away will flip. In 2028. 2028. Yeah, 2028. It'll all flip. Except for the three main ones obviously will stay the same, and they will just alternate each year, home and away. But 2026 and 2028 will be the same, but it'll flip. 2027 will be all the teams you don't play, and then 2029 will be those same teams, but you flip. So you're going to play every team at least once, which is something I do like about the schedule. But overall, it's going to be one of the toughest ones again next year.
Yeah, I think it's easier than this year, but it's still
maybe.
I think South Carolina won't be as tough because Sellers will be in the NFL. So
if he goes pro,
I bet he is. He's going to be a top 5 pick. He's gone.
Maybe Auburn, he's kind of struggled. But yeah, maybe.
Auburn, same kind of thing. Like they have a lot of guys who are probably going to go pro. Yeah, Vandy, and you see if they can keep it up after
they are. Yeah.
They all kind of leave. Missouri's always a question mark because they always bring in a lot of good players, but it's kind of, is it going to click for them?
Yeah.
That year, they kind of seem to be on that every other schedule. And then, I don't know, Texas, we'll see what they're going to be at that point. Because
Texas, LSU, Oklahoma, and Alabama, those are the tough ones.
Those are the tough ones. And
Ole Miss, just because it's a rivalry.
And it's on the road. So that'll be, but yeah, it's still tough. There's not going to be there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the SEC. So
right, yeah, no, it's definitely nothing easy. And you brought up a good point. Some of these have question marks. South Carolina, I think Sellers will be back, so that's why I think that will be a tougher game.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Yeah, and if he is gone, then that gets easier. Now they have recruited really well, and Beamer's done a good job. So we'll see.
If he's still there, he might go.
Yeah, he could go to Virginia Tech. No, but Vanderbilt, we'll see without Pavia what they are, but they're still, they've. Last year, everyone thought it was kind of a fluke, and they've come back this year even better. So we'll see what they ended up doing. And I also brought up in one of the previous podcasts, maybe Clark Lee's even gone if he has success again this year. I actually like where Auburn's headed, so that's why I don't. Yeah, I think that one's going to be tougher, just because, as I said before, this year I thought Auburn was the most underrated team this year. They return a lot of those guys. Malcolm Simmons, Cam Coleman, the 2 receivers will be back. I don't see any way Jackson Arnold goes pro, so he should be back another year. Right. So they have some pieces that I think are really good, and they've recruited well the last couple of years. Not as great for this class, but that's the 2026 class. How many of those guys will actually impact? You don't know. But they've done really well in the transfer portal over the last couple of years. And if it's not Arnold, I know they have that freshman quarterback that they love, Deuce Knight, I believe is the one that's there. I always get him mixed up with the one at Alabama, but I think that's Keelan Russell. I think he's at Alabama and Deuce.
Yeah, he's at Auburn.
Yeah, so I always get them flipped. But they have if Arnold leaves, they got a guy that they're really high on, high 5-star, but I don't see him leaving. But yeah, I actually think Auburn will be a somewhat of a tough one. At least it's at home.
Yeah. Yeah. What didn't mean that isn't they won't be tough. It's just they do have a lot of guys that are going to be NFL draft guys. I think they're mostly on the defense. So
yeah,
their identity may flip a little bit and they'll be the high-powered offense versus
right.
But I have a lot of the defense. And then LSU, same kind of thing. Nussmeier's gone. A couple of those linemen I think are gone. All their linebackers are going to be pros. So, they reload. It's just kind of, does it click into place? You know, when you replace that many guys, do they all work out or do half of them work out? Things like that. So, like I mean, it's tough, but it's not as tough.
I think they did balance it better this time around. And I wonder if they kind of emphasized that because I do feel like they balanced it better.
They're going to do that,
yeah, because I do think they balanced it a little better. 2027 is shaping up to be a really fun schedule because you get Arkansas in that one, you get Vanderbilt still, you get Kentucky in that one. Now you get and we'll see what Florida is at that point. But you get Florida in that one. But that's also a year you go to Alabama and you go to Georgia and to Tennessee, actually. Yeah, so that will be an interesting one.
Yeah, just again, it's kind of, I don't know. It's just looking at these schedules, it's like they really just created a murderer's row of a conference where no matter how good you are, you can't look at any of these schedules and think you're that you're losing less than 2 to 3 games. I mean, they're just so no one is going to Alabama, to Georgia, to Tennessee, and then you also have A&M, Florida, Ole Miss, and Arkansas on your schedule. Like, you're not going through those 7 games and not losing 2, no matter who you are.
Well, and that's why I don't think we're going to see a lot of these schools schedule tough non-conference opponents because of that schedule.
Right.
I mean, like next year they got Mississippi State goes to Minnesota. So like that's not a terrible one. 2027, you get Minnesota at home. Again, not terrible. But the way Tech's recruiting right now, that 2029 matchup is looking tough. Yeah. And the 2029 one would be on the road at Tech. When you go on the road to play Alabama, you get Georgia at home. You do get Ole Miss at home, but you get Tennessee at home. You go to Florida. You go to Texas A&M. Like that could be a murder's row in that season.
Yeah, it really could be. You got to have to hope that the whole salary cap thing really clicks into place and Tech can't spend $20 million per player at that point. It's rough. But, hey, also next year will be the 3rd year with Lebby. You know, a lot of these guys are coming back. Like, losing Shapen. But a lot of these guys are sophomores and juniors.
Well, so you hope Mario Taylor's rolling, you know.
Yeah, you hope he's ready to go and that he's still here. And
then maybe it's Brody McWhorter by 2029.
Yeah, it might be Brody McWhorter. You got to hope that Cody Campbell doesn't throw $30 million at one of your backup quarterbacks to go to Tech.
Right. Fingers crossed on that one. All right, come on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just crazy how tough these schedules are. And you look as far out as you look, it's just like, that 5-star that's a freshman now is going to be starting for that Georgia at that point. So,
and they got I think he's the top quarterback in the class in the 2026 class at quarterback, Georgia does. And so by then he's probably started a couple years. But all right, coming up next, we got a big recruiting update. Don't go anywhere.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I love using FanDuel because, my favorite thing is the live bets. Once that action gets going, see how the game is unfolding, find that hot player, put some money on him, or football defense is dominating, go under on some of those players that are, on that offense that are struggling. And, those same game parlays are so much fun. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add just a little more fun and energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
All right. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right. So, like I said, there's a big recruiting news, both figuratively and literally, because Johnnie Jones, the massive offensive tackle, he's 6'6", 308 pounds. He's from Florida. He was originally committed to UCLA. He's a consensus 4-star. Top 200 player. He's almost cracked into the top 100 on Rivals. But yeah, he was committed to UCLA. Obviously, Deshaun Foster gets let go, so he decommits. He will be on campus this weekend. And when he was asked, what kind of stands out about Mississippi State, he said the offensive line coach, which, Phil Lodeholt, again, doing amazing work on the offensive line. Now, it seems like he's going to take his time in the process because he visited Missouri this past weekend, loved that visit. He's also high on Florida State, Penn State, Oklahoma. So there's some, big schools out there still pursuing him. And right now it's early and it's only a 17.8%, but Florida State is actually leading for Johnnie Jones. But yeah, I mean, again, Phil Lodeholt doing his thing. And again, he's got a type.
Found his type, another massive human to go out there. And yeah, he's doing a lot of work. He's brought in a lot of guys. A lot of guys are going to be here for years, but you have to start, getting that next wave. Because the offensive line is one of those places you have to constantly be bringing in bodies. And this would be a huge one to get. And I know there's a lot of linemen that were recently committed to UCLA, in the wake of the whole Nico commitment back in the last portal. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more of those 4-star linemen that they had start hitting the portal after what happened there. So that he might not be the only one that's taking visits to Starkville.
All the ones that hit the portal, all the ones that obviously decommit. Another coach was fired. Oklahoma State was fired. They had some commitments as well. Maybe look into that and see if there's anyone that you would want to poach, not just on the offensive line, just at any position. But
I was like, I don't think there's anyone on that offensive line anyone wants to go.
But they had some pretty good recruits, especially the running back that they had that decommitted the other day. They not just Oklahoma State, but some of these other schools, the portal is open for 30 days. Who enters? And you can kind of look and see what you want from that standpoint. But overall, obviously that would be a massive get. And if you could get him, and then we've talked about Malachi Ziegler a lot, the quarterback, like those would be two massive gets for them. But that's why you have to make the big impression this weekend. Missouri made the big impression last weekend on him by beating South Carolina, which South Carolina is obviously a pretty good football team. If Mississippi State can go out there, beat Tennessee, or even just make it a really competitive, fun atmosphere type of game where he's like, yeah, they're starting to roll. And I love how the offensive line is playing, even though they're not this super talented offensive line that Lodeholt has, built up over many years because it's his first year. Like, that's a guy I want to go play for. Like, that's what you're trying to sell right now.
Yeah, that you have to sell. Like, we've been talking about how this coaching staff is really good on selling the vision. It's really getting close to time to where you have to have those results to start getting these guys, because the vision only works for so long to get the talented players in. You have to start realizing the vision. And this Saturday is a great time to show that what you're building is working. Obviously winning is the best way to do that. But if it's tight and you lose on like a, fourth quarter touchdown, lose by one score, that shows you're in it. This Tennessee is one of the best teams in college football. And if you're losing by one score to them, that means you're not far behind them.
Yeah, no, and you would do that while you're still in the building phase, and that's the great thing, where Tennessee is already in the established phase. And we've seen them this year, and Landon and I are very impressed by them. It's going to be a tough game this weekend because they're a legit college football playoff contender. And to do it again like they did last year, I even think in some ways they're better than last year. They're not as good defensively, but offensively, I think
they're better.
In some ways they're better. Dylan Sampson was a game changer. That offensive line was really, really good. But I think the quarterback is better than what they had last year, and he's played like it. And the defense is still good. It's not great. It's not like it. Last year was an elite defense. This year, I think it's a good defense. So in ways, I think they're better than last year. And so that makes it a tall task on Saturday. But if you can at least make the impression that, hey, we're competing in these games, despite not having the full talent yet, because we're still developing and we're still, building. We're still getting in the transfer portal. We're still doing all this stuff. Come be a part of this. That's the whole goal of the weekend for not just him, just any recruit that's on campus.
Yeah, that's the goal. And only other recruiting thing I saw, this is a long way out. 2028 4-star receiver Jacolby Campbell was on campus last week. So probably have a little while before he commits. But that's just a name to keep on the radar. Said he really enjoyed his time in Starkville. So, 2028, that's so far away. But
keep an eye on it. You never know.
They get him in the building.
Hey, and people reclassify and all this stuff. You never
2027.
know. Right. You never know. All right. Well, it's another big moment on Locked On College Football Fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. My name is Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check those out. Tomorrow's episode, as of right now, things are looking really good. We should have an interview with Eric Kane of Locked On Vols to kind of preview the game, so look forward to that. But until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.